Hello, everybody, and welcome to the stream. I am Bogus Meat Factory. How's it going today, Lukester? It's a pleasure to have you. Folks, happy Friday. I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful Friday. The weekend is upon us. It is a beautiful time indeed. It is hotter than the blazes of hell in here, in this house. Hold on, let me, one second. One second. Boink. Boink. Gotta turn on this fan. Woo! Hope y'all had a good week. Today was a crazy day for me. I was a chaperone today for my oldest's field trip for school. We went to a wonderful place called Greenfield Village. It's the Henry Ford Museum's stuff.
Don't.
I think, Luke, sir, that we are going to start calling that the Luke That Body. Luke that body, gotta Luke that body now. How are you today? Yeah, we went to the Henry Ford Museum. This would be Greenfield Village. It's this outside area, and this is the most insane thing on the planet. I love it to death. It was a lot of fun. We got to see a lot of cool historical buildings and learn a lot of cool history about the industry of like the car industry and all that stuff. And it's wild though is that like Henry Ford went and like dug up and transported like the Wright brothers' home and Thomas Edison's like home and workshop and like the home of Webster from Webster's Dictionary and just like transplanted them here for like his own little personal collection in a museum. To me that was wild, but it was really, really fun. My oldest, she's 9, she had a great time. It was a lot of fun. Wild to see because it was a school day, like for all like the different schools in the area and stuff like this were coming in for field trips and things. Madness, absolute madness. Like we're watching kids like trying to like bust down every single closed and locked door and like just trying to tear the place apart. And all the while though, I was like, you know, this is madness, but then I was like, oh yeah, these are like elementary student kids who are just wild sometimes, and kids are like this. The kids were like this when I was that age. But like there was one thing that was like a very like comforting, like, oh, we're gonna be okay, was that like in the shade were these two girls who were like 12 years old that were reading manga. Just sitting in the shade quietly reading manga, and there's just chaos all around them, and I'm like, yeah, all is well with the world. It was a good time. It was a good time. Lukester, you just beat Batman Telltale Season 1 earlier. Let's go! What did you think? What were your thoughts? I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Batman the Telltale series was honestly like the best Telltale adventure game. It really was. It felt, and it worked so well for Batman, surprisingly. You know, and really kind of emphasizing the detective nature of it. It really kind of felt like, for me at least, it really did feel like it had the DNA of Batman the Animated Series, which I grew up with. I love when Batman is the detective side of Batman. Not just that, but also, you know, the action and adventure of Batman in general, but when they really do focus on not just the detective side, but the Bruce Wayne side of things too, that it really shines because it's showing that multifaceted nature of that superhero, right? And that's what makes Batman super special. Whenever he is just in costume, fighting crime, kicking ass, like that's when Batman is at his weakest. I feel. Now again, I'm not, you know, I'm not the definitive, you know, the definitive source, not in the slightest, but that's what I really enjoy the most with Batman in particular. And that's one of those things that I also feel is really funny when we talk about like DC superheroes, right? People always talk about Superman and how Superman's like the weakest because he doesn't have much character. And there's so much that you can do with Superman that makes him interesting without making him also be like dark and brooding. Because you don't need dark and brooding in this world 24/7. Everything doesn't have to be dark and brooding. Tron. It's like the Tron thing coming up is going to be super dark and brooding. But like Superman as a hero, you know, like being that outsider being, this ultimate force. And like, I get the Zack Snyder Superman thing, but his interpretation of it was so cynical and pessimistic and dark. And in reality, Superman, how I feel at least, that character should handle those same themes that the Snyderverse Superman had, but with more optimism and with with this love for human beings. And it's so odd that people struggle to understand Superman as a character or to relate to him when he's supposed to be like this. Like, I know that I am alienated. I know that, like, there is a huge burden on me, but it's like, I can do this, and because I care so much about people. And when you look at something like, Batman, he cares so much about Gotham and his father's legacy and like all of that stuff as being a major driving force. And Superman's is just like, I was taken in by people or humanity, and I got to see so many awesome things because of this, and I love it so much, and all I want to do is take care of people. And like, that's a really powerful force, and I think that that's something we need to see more of, not less of. Not switching to some dark, tormented side of things. It's not necessary. There are places for that, absolutely, but like, man, look, one of my all-time favorite games is a game called Wandersong. Amazing game. Greg Lobanov is the developer. He is an awesome person, and Wandersong is a game that kind of embodies that essence. You are a bard that nobody thinks you're worth anyone's time. You're not a hero, but you get this vision, one that everybody gets, that is trying to suss out who's going to be the quote-unquote hero to save the day. And by saving the day, it is bringing about the end of the world so that it can start new, because it's so corrupted and like things are going awry. It's a very colorful game, and you can sing like all of the time. And you have a dance button that's just a dedicated dance button that doesn't do anything, but you just get to dance, even like when you're talking to NPCs. It is such a delightful and jolly game, but like, you aren't the chosen one, but you still care so much about the world and feel that it's worth saving, and that people can show the creator of all existence that it's worth keeping and not just destroying and starting from scratch and working against the hero who is dedicated to helping move towards its own destruction, because that's what heroes do. They save the day. And if saving the day means that we have to start from scratch, that's what it means. And this hero being just so optimistic and loving of people of all types, regardless of whether they care about him or not. And that's how I feel Superman is too. Like, that's how I see that. And it was such a refreshing thing. And I connected so strongly with that character because that's how I feel about people. That's how I view people. That everybody's valuable and everybody's so awesome, and that humanity and people are so cool, and they have so many things to bring to that table, perspective and ideas and creativity, that is just so worthwhile. And that's why when people are like, always go, people suck and oh, everything sucks. For me, I'm very much like, no, there's so much good, even amidst a lot of that bad that happens. There's so much good in people, and it's so much worth looking into. Sorry, you got me on a Batman rant and a Superman rant. I don't usually do a Superman rant, but I very much like it. Let's get into Dark Sun, though, shall we? So where we last left off in Dark Sun, we have gotten one of the big artifacts. We're attempting to get another. And so we are going in. We went through a magic tapestry to go into a volcano amidst the ringing mountains, and to get this gem. And we found these people, this species of sentient creatures that have taken residence inside of this old temple as their home, and they are protected of the seal. This seal that keeps the volcano from erupting and essentially creating a chain reaction of all of these other volcanoes amidst the ringing mountains from erupting as well. And there is a division that wants to, like, usurp the governing body right now. They have this council that is running things. And one of the council members was murdered. They studied these statues within this temple, and it had collapsed on him amidst a earthquake. The leader of this kind of rebellion group, they don't want to violently take over, and they state that one of the biggest things is that the governing council is corrupt, and that they cause these earthquakes to control people, and they use the seal as a means to do so, as a means to control people. And so we're now investigating the murder to determine whether this statue falling on somebody was a murder or just an accident. And it's just very interesting. I'm very curious how this is going to go. So we had just looked through all these different areas here. We're the southern district of the temple is a residential district, and there's still a northern area that we have to search still to get clues and information about what's kind of going on. Yeah, it's so wild. They have all these different statues and things. So yeah, so we've got another magic tapestry there, it looks like. Let's go. Oh, let's go take a look. All of these look like magic tapestries. So these tapestries, we know, like, teleport you to places, which is kind of crazy. It's like, look at this tapestry. The tapestry has not been activated. Okay, so that's not something that's currently working. I'm guessing that's like once we've completed everything, that's our way out back into the city itself, into Tyr. So here's the Golden's tombs. Greetings, what business do you have here? I'm investigating Sorval's death. Of course, I should have known you were the ones that we were told about. Sorval was a good person. If he was indeed murdered, I hope you find the person responsible. What are you guarding? We're guarding a crypt. Someone has been looting the tombs and taking items from them. Who would do such a thing? We don't know. It's probably the rebels, trying to make themselves more of a nuisance than they already are. What do you know about the rebels? I know that they've been causing trouble and putting more stress on this already tense situation, as if the Draxons weren't enough for us to deal with already. What kind of things have been taken? Jewelry, ornaments, and other trinkets. Nothing grand, but enough to warrant a duty guarding the dead. May I enter the crypt? Of course. You weren't here when the lootings began, so I've got no reason to suspect you can go in. I've got to get back to duty. Good luck. Yes? What are you doing here? Manning my post, I was assigned to guard this crypt, so I am. Have you seen anything strange lately? No, I haven't seen anything out of the ordinary. Have there been other Draxon attacks? There has not been a frontal assault, but our scouts tell us they're still out there. I'm getting tired of waiting. Excuse me, let's get back to my duties. The tomb is ornately carved. A great deal of effort went into making this. You can tell that some are disturbed, yeah. A small plaque on the tomb identifies it as Sorval's. It is sealed tightly. All these except for the names, all these tombs look alike. Okay, yeah. You can tell how long this tomb has been here by the layer of dust on it. Okay. Yeah, Sorval's is going to be one that we're going to want to get into at some point. Because, yeah, we'll be investigating that body eventually. Okay, so that doesn't lead anywhere. We're going north. We've got a grappling hook, which means that we might need to use it. So let's take it, make sure that it's in our main character's inventory. So Sakura got it. So let's give it over to our dude here. We are running out of space, man. Space is becoming a real problem. But like, we don't need the bird anymore. There's so many things that we have that we don't need. The feather fan we do need though, for sure. Scroll. Orders for assembly. Assumably the Draxons. Yeah, obtain at all costs. We cannot allow the room to fall into the hands of those that would rebuild the Veiled Alliance. Let nothing stand in your way. Yeah. Okay. Time stands still when you are in kind of like a loop mode with the cursor, which is helpful because there have been, and we've seen, timed quests that have happened. So like we want to make sure that we are stopping time in case anything crazy happens. And we're just looking around, seeing what's here. Oh, this is a big room. Oh, okay. I think I know which room that is. Yeah. Here's something you didn't expect to see. Oh, no. Let's see how our pathfinding goes. All right. This book contains some of Sorbal's notes. Lepilikos reads over the last entry in the book. To the purpose of these, I can only begin to imagine. Oh, hello, Martin. How are you today, my friend? I can only begin to imagine. There are simple mechanical housings in all of them, and were I to carve one open, I would not be surprised to find it hollow. Could this have perhaps been some kind of fountain? Was this volcano ever filled with water instead? They could be restored. There might be some significance found among their actions. I've become most fascinated with the beast, the most complex and unique of them all. There is a way to access its inner workings, and I'm certain it has something to do with the eyes. How are you today, my friend? It's good to see you. Oh my goodness, Martin, I've been playing. I don't know. Have I ever given you the rant about Book of Travels? I'm curious. Book of Travels, a game I've been getting into again, one that I love dearly. Absolutely brilliant. And it's made by let me get the developer info here real quick. Might and Delight is the name of the developer. I don't know where they're based out of. Let's see. They are fantastic. And this game is so amazing. Book of Travels, yes, look it up. They're Swedish. They're from Stockholm, and it is a tiny online RPG. What that means, of course, a tiny online RPG is think of it like Journey, but it is also I mean, it's hard to describe this game. It's Journey meets Ultima 4 meets Animal Crossing. The best how it is Animal Crossing is it is a 7-day week event schedule. It's got a 24-hour day-night cycle. But it is like Journey because the maximum server is 10 players. You don't communicate with chat. You use pictographs to convey your intent and communicate with each other. And you have a whole bunch of different pictograms to choose from. And also spells and stuff like this that you also use to communicate in very interesting ways. And it's like Ultima in a way that it's a big open world. It's very painterly too. It's one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. It's such a unique art design. But and the quests are very opaque. They don't hold your hand. And you gain experience and level up just by like talking to people and learning about the world and letting that world expand. There is technically a combat system. There are enemies and like quote unquote dungeons, but the bulk of it is exploring and understanding the culture of this amazing world that is so fascinating and interesting with so many influences from all over the world, but also still in some way because of its unique setting, it has an identity all its own, but you can clearly see its influence from things like this. It is so beautiful. I've been playing that a lot in the daytime, and definitely worth my time for sure, worth people's time. It's so brilliant. I can't stress enough like how cool it is. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, so they talk about that something to do with the eyes. Okay, so let's put that in our pockets. So it says the beast statue is the one we need to look at, which we will do. But we are going to talk to everybody else first. Door's locked and looks quite sturdy. Hold on. I need Dee Dee to come and pick the lock. Dee Dee is our front runner, always our person. Pick the lock. Dee Dee gives up on the lock after several frustrating attempts. The tumblers keep rearranging themselves as if by magic. Okay, so it's magically sealed. So it's early access still, but what's also great to its credit of its early access is that it also is a game that incorporates that into its story. There's kind of a reason why not all the content is there. And yeah, it is a game that is, it's so beautiful. I have streamed it. I've got stuff up online too. Like if you ever want to see it in action, it's worth it. Not to say that I'm trying to say like you should play it or you should buy it. That's not my intent at all. Of course, I am far more saying it's fascinating, and I think that people should be more aware of it because it's so good. All right, there's Verini. Let's see. It's so like to give you like even just a remote understanding like character creation, right? You pick essentially personality traits as your person, like the type of character that you are, these kind of this kind of template, and that kind of is that determines what sort of qualities your character can have, and you have to pick like 2 good qualities and 1 bad quality. My game like that is Don't Escape, 4 Days to Survive. Yes, I know of this. Yes, I think it's so well made, and I wish it was more widely known. Yes, I know this. I know of this game. And so like, but like the qualities, like your negative qualities, can be like shy, or your pictograms are tiny, or that you're a fast talker. They disappear at a rapid pace, or that you have asthma, and like when you run out of energy, your person gets into a coughing fit, and like they have to stop for an extended period of time if you like run out of stamina completely from running too much. And it's just about the travel and traversal of this world. It's so interesting, so good. And also, if we beat this tonight, which I hope we do, if not, we'll finish it on Sunday for sure. We're going to be playing Dread Delusion next as our big game, because it just hit 1.0 release, like a full release. Dread Delusion is so exciting. I played a bunch of it when it came out in early access at the beginning, but I stopped and was like, I'm going to love this game, and I just want to wait to see what happens. Never heard of Dread Delusion either. Hold on. Let me get it pulled up for you. Let me pull up a trailer. You can watch this trailer with me, because I have it like ready to go. Let's see, where are you at here?
Calamity is cyclical. The old world rots from our collective conscience. These splintered isles are all that remain. But there are those who would lay claim to anything.
It is a first-person RPG, akin to kind of something like Morrowind.
Tyrants. Fools. Their hubris rises like bile. Their arrogance, a tide that would swallow us whole.
Oh, I can't wait.
Gone is the age of ambition. Nigh is the age of delusion.
I was so stoked. It's got an amazing visual aesthetic. It's got a really interesting world. It just looks really cool. I'm stoked about it. I can't wait. Sorry. We're going to be jabbering on all day. It's sort of... So yeah, it's got a very handcrafted world. The visual aesthetic, of course, is kind of inspired by PlayStation 1. People like to make the Morrowind thing, like the Morrowind connection to it, but I don't know if I would necessarily say that. It is open world, but its world is very alien and strange and kind of surreal. And you're floating islands, and that the ground below is desolate and like destructive and inhospitable to life, and it's people living on these islands that are connected, and your goal is to hunt down this like rebel woman. You're a prisoner, and your freedom is, of course, to hunt down this rebel faction leader and assassinate them. And it's really interesting. And so yeah, I played it when it kind of first was in early access. That would have been like 2 years ago. And then I played for like about 2 hours, and I was like, look, it's not done yet. The content wasn't all there. You couldn't beat the game. Like you could just kind of explore, and it was very early stages of the game, a true like early access. And I was like, but I love what we have here. I love its story. I love its world. And I love like just kind of its aesthetic and its presentation of the world and its lore, because it does it in a really great job of kind of having quests that key you in on the rituals and religion and beliefs of the people, and it's very fascinating. And so that was a really great way to kind of introduce you to that world. And I was like, okay, I'm on board. I don't need to play anymore. I'll wait till it gets to the full release. I already bought it into it because I got it early access, and I was like, if I play it and I don't like it, I can just return it. And I loved it. And I was like, I'm good. I'll wait. We'll see the final product and we'll play it. And that just hit just literally, 2 days ago, I think. So we're going to stream that after this for sure as our big game. Sorry, where am I? Here, of course. What can you tell me about the Order? The Order has been around for centuries without any mishaps. I see no reason for us to change now. What can you tell me about the Rebels? I've seen more dissent and trouble in this temple since the Rebels appeared. We never used to have these kind of problems. Can you ask me some questions about Sorbal? He's the Order member that died. I didn't know him. Can you tell me about the Draxons? I believe the Draxons are going to keep attacking us until we give them what they want. I wonder what it could be. It's a gem. All right. Hi, Verini. All right. Let's see what else we can go here. Okay, let's go here. Talk to this dude. But, with, who's the, whoops! Oh, God. You okay, buddy? In the case of something like Book of Travels I find to be a bit more adventure. It's an adventure RPG, but it has a higher emphasis on adventure more than anything. So, like, quests are, like, find these people, get a lot of fetch quests, but those fetch quests are a little bit more complex than just go to location, get item, bring back item. It's far more like, find this thing, you have to kind of discover it. The traversal is part of that adventure. Once you find that thing, there are a lot of options for you on what you do with that from that point on, and making decisions, even though it doesn't affect the world in a grand scale. Like it isn't some kind of weird permanent thing, like where you give this thing and now the world has changed, but only for you. It's not like that. But it gives you, each option gives you a different piece of that world puzzle. It's so interesting. Anyway, sorry. Zadiko. All right, let's see. You shouldn't sneak up on me like that. You've just set me back a week in my experiments, you know? I'd like to... Hey, who are you? I'm Didi. More visitors, eh? I'm surprised. Usually people don't come to visit me. They hear the explosions and think twice about it. I'm Zadiko. I'm running a series of experiments. I've been working on a formula to turn gold into lead. What about turning lead into gold? Sorry about barging in. Don't worry too much about it. You're certainly not the first person to come barging in here, you know, and I know you won't be the last. What about turning lead into gold? Why? There's more than enough gold around here for everyone. It's the lead that we don't have. Why don't you use the gold for money? Money? Whatever for. It's too heavy to carry around in large amounts, and we really don't need a monetary system. Hasn't done much for your world. It's Moral Vision tomorrow. Ooh. Oh my goodness. What are you going to do? I'm curious. Is this your music? You're doing the music one? Or is this Moral Vision's the music performance, right? That's super exciting, dude. I can't wait to see the product for that. That's going to be the best. Dude. 29 entries. Holy smokes. That's fantastic. I love the stuff he is doing. I need to get in there and do another talk someday about why text parsers are awesome. What else do you do besides your research? Well, I used to practice magic. Use it when required, but I'm more interested in alchemy now. That reminds me, there's a whole pile of books and scrolls in the back room. If you're interested, go ahead and look through them. I know there are some spells in some of the scrolls. Take them if you want. I know them all anyways. How many spells do you know? All of them, I think. I can scribe some of them for you if you don't like. Can you create a scroll for me? What spell are you interested in? I can write any of these. Flame Arrow, Blur, Minute Meteors, Mind Blank, Chaos, or Fire Shield. Oh, you can also write one of Meteor Storm if you want. Whoa. I mean, I think I'd like the scroll of Meteor Storm. Unlike the other scrolls, this one is a one-shot spell. Meteor Storm is a very finicky spell. It doesn't like being written down. It'll cost you 54,000? Yeah, okay, I'll pay that. I got that. That's nothing. In addition to the cost, the spell will take me 216 hours to scribe. What is... that's acceptable. I'll wait. You put the song on YouTube after the show so people can check it out. Dude, that's fantastic. How it's so wild that you had done that uh it was the was it the Smashing Pumpkins one? The Smashing Pumpkins remix. And it was played on my local radio station. Not local. It's not like a local radio station. It's a big one. It's like a big radio station. It's a very prestigious rock and roll radio station in the United States. And it also plays in Boston now for some reason. Minty says, currently on a train halfway through the coast in an area with bad reception. Hope you have a good one stream. Thank you, Minty, and good job on keeping that streak alive, my friend. And I heard it, like, and I was like, holy shit, that's, it's the best. Can you tell me anything about Sorval? He comes to visit me now and again. One of the few who do. Why don't you go talk to him personally? Right to the source is always the best. I can't. Sorval was killed several days ago. Why didn't anyone tell me? I can't believe it. People are so afraid of a little explosion that they don't bother to tell me things. No wonder I haven't seen him. How did he die? A statue fell on him during a tremor. Not a pleasant way to go. I'm sorry he died. He was a good person. I have to go see ya. Alright, so here's his table. He's playing chess. It says the back room has a bunch of scrolls. Here we go. So you're looking for at the EI board. Would you like to play a game? Yes. Do you need instructions? Yes. Elements and Influences is a strategic game that is played on a tiled board. There are two sides, and each try to conquer the other. The elements Earth, Air, Fire, and Water start in the corners and work their way inward. Their influences, composed of Preservers, Defilers, Dragons, and Avangians, attempt to move out from the center of the board to stop the elements. Each piece has its own movement and rules. We'll play, and you'll get the hang of it. Elements first. Let's move. Mildly defensive. Your iffy defense opens gaps in your lines, and Zideko takes the opportunity to attack. There are very few complex engagements, and shortly Zideko emerges victorious. Good game. Want to play again? Just let me know. I want to play. Hey, Zedek, I want to play again, buddy. I'm going to beat you in this. I'd like to play a game of V&I, please. Okay. Oh. Okay, is that not going to work? Okay, never mind. I think he's stuck in the wall. The shelf is stacked haphazardly with scrolls. You wonder why Zideko even bothers to use a shelf. DD cautiously pulls a scroll from the shelf, nimbly removing one without disturbing the others. The scroll crumbles to dust as soon as DD tries to open it. Oh no! Let's see. A shame, since DD can make out the beginnings of a spell of Meteor Swarm. Oh man. So I have a lot to say. One, the visual style, not necessarily to my liking. It feels just more zoomed in, and I have to scroll around a heck of a lot more. Two, there's a lot more dialogue, and it's actually incredibly well written, and offers a lot more kind of personality and insight to the world of Dark Sun in a really positive and great way. And the negative side, though, is that there's sometimes some dialogue glitches where, like, you do an option and it doesn't register properly. Like, the response isn't right, which is kind of weird. And this one has more. This one has so much more. Not necessary, I will stress. But, like, even if you talk to, like, a random citizen and they're just labeled as citizen, they don't have a name attached to them necessarily. When you talk to them, you can get their name, and they do have kind of like, they have a history, they have a story, and it's very interesting to kind of learn, but they're not necessary in the slightest. But its quest structure is a lot more complex. They have timed quests that are like, of course, based on how quickly you can kind of solve this mystery or approach the problem quicker, the better the outcome. But it's really interesting how that kind of is designed. There's this really great mind quest where you're exploring a labyrinthine mine system that has a rhyme and reason to it. And eventually at a certain point, there is, because there's been these disappearances of people, and then all of a sudden people start ending up dead, and you have to find where the killers are, and they're roaming through the mines, and you have to stop them and locate where they are and stop them before they kill everybody. And of course, if you do that quicker, you get better rewards for it, and there's kind of, you know, there's an incentive to do so. But it was really fun, and it felt but here's the thing though, it felt dynamic, because like if you did it the slowest possible, it wasn't failure. You didn't fail the quest. In this case, at least, in the case of the mine one, I don't know about anything else, but like it was just, you know, like the worst outcome. Like, oh, all the people are dead. It's going to take so much effort to bring these mines in. Tyr has been kind of crippled because of this, and like it could have gone better. But it was interesting because it really changes the landscape as you're exploring the mines and like discovering all of these people who are dead, and like you have these people who you suspect of murder, and they're not. They end up dead. It does always feel kind of weird how it doesn't matter when you do things in these types of games normally. Yeah, and so like it feels more weighty and important. And it felt very much more substantial. Well, there's two people up here. Who's the other person? That's Verini. We talked to Verini. That's also Verini. Why are there two Verini? Oh, they're just the Verini. They're just normal people. Not a name. I'm dumb. That's the name of their species. All right, so we gotta go. Who are you? Just normal Verini? Okay. Got a lava tube, and that's where we found their stuff. Okay, we gotta go this way. But I've enjoyed the quests a lot more. I've enjoyed the combat. Still feels great. It's been a lot more challenging, and you have to use your tools more regularly, but it's never felt insurmountable. Let's see. Yes, what can I do for you? I'm Didi. Well met, Didi. I'm your Wrath, Watch Commander. What are you doing here? Investigating Sorval's death. Yeah, this game should have been Super VGA. Yes, absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. But you can see that it wasn't like this was, you know, near the tail end of SSI having the rights to Dungeons and Dragons. And you would assume like, oh, well, then this is going to be just a quick cash grab to get something out the door. It doesn't feel that way at all. It does feel like there's a lot of meticulous care and craft to it. And at first, I felt like the city of Tyr felt really out of place to the grand, like, of our experiences in Shattered Lands. But as I played it and experienced it, it felt like the game was a lot more, wouldn't necessarily say linear, but the game is a lot more intentional. Like, you know what you can do and where you can go, and what, like, if you're going in this direction, where that's going to take you. Whereas in like Shattered Lands, you're like, let's just head west and see what we find. Here, like, I know that by going this way, I'm going to be going into this area, and by talking to these NPCs, I have this idea of what's out there, and what's at my disposal, and you have like a very clear-cut quest that you have to do, and you know, like, oh, you kind of know where you're going, but you don't know necessarily what that's going to entail. And it's really interesting. So you've heard. Nortimus handed it down, so we're not going to get in your way. How can I help you with your investigation? Can you tell me about Sorval? Sorval had no enemies. Makes it hard for me to see them. This is anything but an accident. There's no motive. What do you know about these rebels? There are those that say the rebels killed Sorval and made it look like an accident, but don't believe it. They're just kids, and they'd never do anything like that. It's true. They may cause some small problems now and then, but I think it's just their way of becoming adults, a rite of passage, if you will. I'm just looking around. This is a restricted area. I'd ask you to leave, but you helped us with the Draxons. Look around if you want. Had you any other problem with the Draxons? So yeah, sorry to totally answer it, because I was both, I was just rambling. I'm very much enjoying the game. As much as Shattered Lands, maybe not so much. I feel like there are some big positives that are huge improvements, but they also come at a little bit of detriment. And I think that it, so far at least, my experience has been that it is a worthy sequel and one worth people's time. Although I would probably strongly encourage not to do it back to back. That's probably it. Like, you will burn out. Some of our scouts saw some of them on the far side of the volcano. Don't know what they're doing over there. Other than that, things have quieted down thanks to you. What's on the far side of the volcano? No, that's why we can't imagine what they're doing over there. It's just rock. There are no other entrances to the temple except the main one. Yeah, they're looking for the ruby that we're after. Knocks on the door a couple times. Be right there. This is a restricted area. What do you want? I'm Dee Dee. I've heard of you. You're the ones that cleaned up the Draxon encampment, right? The name's Sylvan. What do you want? Can I come in? No, unless you've got permission from Roan. How am I supposed to get permission? You need a reason to come in here, and you need to talk to Roan about it. I don't make the rules, only enforce them. All right, see ya. All right, so we got to go... Let's see. So we can't get in and talk to that dude. But we can go in here and talk to this guy. Kel. Were you ever in real life denied entrance to some place and then managed to talk your way into it? Great question. I feel like yes. But I can't really tell you what. No, I guess not. There's definitely been situations where they're like, hey, you're not supposed to be here. And it's like, oh, we're part of like this group. You know, like we're this like thing, like my old boss at Blockbuster used to do Christmas displays at like hotels at malls, and like, hey, you can't be here in, you know, not this area. It's like, oh no, we're part of this group that does this thing. Like, oh, okay, come on in. But like that's kind of been it. I never had to like use subterfuge to get into a place. All right, greetings. It's not often that I get the pleasure of outside visitors. What may I do for you? I'm Dee Dee. I'm Kel. This is my studio. I'm a glass blower, and I've created many of the glass objects throughout this temple. Can you ask him some questions? Can you make this shard into a sword? Yes, we have a shard. You know, I may be able to do something with this. Can I have the shard for a while? Sure, here, take it. Thanks. I could start on this right away. I should have something for you in a day or so. Can I ask you some questions about Sorval? Of course. What can I tell you? Where were you when Sorval was killed? I was with Elovan. The quake hit. We heard something fall. We went to the sound and found Jakoth passed out on the floor. One of his statues had fallen over and almost landed on him. Oh. We went to Toronto once for a wedding, and on one of the other days, we walked into a random party because the door was open, and we hung out for a while until people started asking us who the hell we were. Party crashing. Oh my goodness. They're out there. That's people who just do that for fun. They do that intentionally. Did you see or hear anything suspicious? Elovan said that he heard someone running right after the quake. That could be a number of things. There were children crying and everyone was in a state of panic. Would anyone want to kill Sorval? No. I don't know how anyone could have disliked Sorval enough to kill him, let alone be angry at him. How well did you know Sorval? Sorval was the only order member to come and visit me on a regular basis. He was very kind. Part of his responsibilities were to keep in touch with the artisans in the temple. Did Sorval ever make mention of an enemy? If so, he never said anything about it. Sorval was quiet. He used to go outside and stare out into the distance. Once I asked him what he was looking at. He told me he was looking at the future. Do you know what he meant? No, I don't. I thought Sorval might have some inner knowledge that the rest of us didn't. He looked so sad at times, as if the weight of all of Athos' problems were on his shoulders. I've told you all I know about Sorval. Let's talk about something else. What do you think of the rebels? Martin says, my partner and I went to New York City once, and we wanted to go into a comedy club, but they asked me ID, which I didn't have on me because we left our passports in the safe at the hotels. And to prove I'm over 21, I told him about Nirvana, and they let me in. That's fantastic. There's a lot of... I have to tell you, so I used to, when I worked at Blockbuster Video, movie rental place, we worked out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, which was a big college town. And we had a sister city in Germany. And it was really weird because that doesn't seem like that's a big deal. But apparently to the people of Ann Arbor and to the people of that sister city in Germany, that was a big deal. And they all very much cared about it. And like all of the people of Ann Arbor would like travel to Germany, and all the people of Germany would travel to Ann Arbor. I don't know why. But this thing I noticed with a lot of people from other countries at the time, like we needed a state ID, like or a driver's license or state ID. And if you had a passport, you could use that, but you needed also other information to show that you were a resident here in the United States. And all of the people from like Europe never had an ID on them. Ever. They were just like, why? Why do I need an ID? It's like, clearly I'm an adult. Like, clearly I can just do this. And I'm like, man, they haven't signed like a contract. Like, I don't know, but that's the rules. Like, I can't, it won't even let me fill this out unless I have that field like entered. So like, I need that information. And it's like, I'm sorry. Like, and always, they're just like, that's ridiculous. You realize that's ridiculous. Like, yes, I do realize that's ridiculous. But like, yeah, they never would have any ID on them ever. And that's like, I guess it's just a thing. Sorry. They're nothing more than rebellious youth. Yeah, it's not really the culture here to carry this sort of stuff, especially years ago. Yeah, like here in the United States, like well, I mean, it also doesn't help that we, you know, aren't a walkable country. We have cars for everything. You have to drive for everything. And thus you need an ID because you have your car. Obviously, you took your car to your destination. So you must have your driver's license with you. And then they make that assumption for everything, and it's required for so many things. It's weird. It's still weird. Like, I get it for like, you know, like booze and stuff like this, I guess. People just walk out the door. Yeah, I wish. Oh, like I can't buy cough medicine. I can't buy allergy medication. I can't buy computer duster without having to have my ID on file at the store that I purchased it from. So like if I buy cough medicine, they scan my driver's license, and every time I do it, they scan it. I'm pretty sure that's against EU privacy law. Yeah, because like they're like, you could be making drugs out of it. And so they have to track how much you buy in how much time. So if I went and bought like 10 cough medicines, so like, we can't sell that to you. We can't. You're making drugs. That's what you're doing. And this is like, you don't understand that what I'm buying is children's cough medicine, and it doesn't have the chemicals needed to make drugs. So like, oh, that computer duster, you're using it to inhale. It's like, no, I just work with computers and need duster. It's weird because the US has this image of land of the free, you know. Oh, that ain't true. My God. I had never in my entire life been pulled over for like anything, like even like, you know, speeding, no minor traffic law things. I only got pulled over once in my entire life, and that was just because I had my sister-in-law in my car with me, and she's black. I got driving, like there's a phrase of driving while black. It's like they're driving while under the influence, and there's this driving while being black, and like mine was driving while having someone who was black in my car, and she's of course like, you know, a teenager and like a goth, and I'm just like, oh, my kids are in the car. This may look weird, and they were like, "Where did you come from? Where are you going? Do you know how fast you were driving?" I was like, yeah, I was driving 75 in a 70-mile-an-hour speed zone. Like, we can go 5 miles over the speed limit. And they're just like, oh, I'm still going to have to give you a ticket. And it's like, okay. And he's just like looking at my sister-in-law, and it's like, so what are you guys doing? I'm just like, that's my sister-in-law. Like, And we're going back to like my house. They stay with us in Farmington Hills, and yeah, we're seeing their mom, and he's just like, nope. Only time I've ever gotten a ticket in my entire life. Then you have to explain yourself to some random cop. You don't have to explain it. You don't. But I didn't want to. I didn't want the trouble. I didn't want the trouble. Because it would have definitely led to me having to get out of the car, and definitely would have led to me to being searched, and my car being searched with my 2 kids in the back seat of the car. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. I'll take the ticket. Had to pay $140 for going 5 miles over the speed limit, because it was also not local for where we were, because we lived like an hour away from where my mother-in-law lives, and so it was closer to there. And so the dude also was just like, I'm giving you a ticket because you won't fight it, because you have to come out here on a certain day to contest this, and I know you're not going to, so here's your ticket. And it's like, oh my God. And I wasn't speeding, which is great. So anyway, sorry, let's talk about this game. Sorry, stop talking about American culture and how it's weird and backwards. We talked about the rebels. They're nothing more than rebellious youth. I can't agree with the Order's claims that they're the ones behind the robberies. It just doesn't make sense. What robberies are you talking about? Some of the crypts have been looted. Jewelry and valuables have been taken. What would the rebels do with that? We have no need for money. Are your glass objects for sale? Of course they are, but I don't think I have anything that would interest you. Elevon creates items that I think you could find more practical. Mine are very delicate and not much good for adventurers. There's also no way you're actually going 5 miles per hour. I mean, just because your speedometer says that doesn't mean that's your actual factual speed. That's right. The speedometers can have a variance of up to 5 miles an hour. So like it can be really off. And it's wild. It's wild. And of course, like there are people speeding around me. And so there's so many ways that they can mess that up. There's Elevon. Hello, Elevon. Greetings, I'm Elevon, a smith by trade. Have you come on business, or are you just here to browse? I'm Dee. Well met, Dee. As I said, I'm Elevon. You'd be the ones who destroyed the Draxon camp. What can I do for you? Could you answer me some questions about Sorval? Of course. What would you like to know about him? Where were you when Sorval was killed? I was with Kel when we felt the tremor. There was a tremendous crash from down the hall. We went to see what happened. We found Jakath on the floor, passed out. One of his statues had fallen. It wasn't until later that we learned that Sorval had been killed. Did Sorval have any enemies? No one but that I knew, and I see most people at one time or another. There was no reason to hate Sorval. He was kind to everybody. Did you see or hear anything unusual? I could swear I heard someone running in the hall just after the tremor. It could have been echoes, though the quake turned things upside down for a while. Was Jakath hurt? No, I think the shock of losing one of his statues was enough to make him pass out. He does things like this from time to time. What do you think of the rebels? I think that they're just a bunch of kids that haven't grown up yet. I know most of them, and they're not bad kids. It's just a stage that every generation shows it differently. I like this. Like, these are good folk here. Yeah, what do you sell? Anything that can be forged, I can do. I can make delicate jewelry or a fierce weapon for battle. You tell me what you want. What kind of weapons do you sell? I want to better yourself in combat, huh? I have an assortment of weapons that'll give you an advantage over your foes. Could also make you a weapon if you supply me the component I need. What kind of weapons can you make? Those fire drakes gave me a good idea, but I need one more component before I can finish. Fire drake claws. If you could get some for me, I could make a special weapon with them. I'll get you some fire drake claws. Excellent. There's a catch, though. I need old claws. Ones that are almost petrified. If you kill a drake and take its claws, they won't work. The older the claws, the better. We're going to find old drake claws. That's where I'm stumped. Drakes usually get eaten by each other. Completely. You've got to find a place where the skeleton is still around. Cool. What kind of jewelry do you make? I usually have an assortment of items in gold, silver, and a variety of other metals. Some of my more popular works have been amulets, gauntlets, and some other cosmetic jewelry. Show me the weapons you have for sale. What's he got? Oh yeah, nothing super special. But I have stuff for you, man. Let's see. I don't want to give him my bone Githka. This shirt, though, we don't need anymore. This is what society looks like if there's no eBay. Right? That seems pretty nice, in all honesty. You know what? Sign me up for it. Okay. Let's sell this. I can, hold on. What is this one? Obsidian two-handed sword. 1d10 plus 3. Let's get rid of this one. We don't need this. We can sell that. And we can sell this guy. Unlimited backlog. Dude, how's it going? How are you today, my friend? It's good to see you. What are you up to? I'm keeping Bloodletter, though. When you scroll of Cone of Cold. No, let's sell that. This is what? Dismissal? Creatures from another plane of existence must save or be... Yeah, we're gonna definitely keep that. I'm sure we'll use that at some point. Turn Pebble to Boulder. No, we can sell it. That doesn't do that much damage in the grand scheme of things. We have better spells now at this point. That stuff's not necessary. What are our spellbooks here? 1 to 6 points of damage plus an additional 4 to 24 points of fire damage on the target. Nope. Sell. We don't need it. Got better. Relaxing on the couch, as one should be. As one should be. Grease. No. Sell. Sorry, Grease. You're not as good as you are in Baldur's Gate 3. Ooh, each target in its path. Let's save that one just in case. Let's sell this. We don't need it. Beast Club. What does this one do? Change target's allegiance. Ooh, Charm Person or Mammal. Ooh. I'm gonna get rid of the leather shield though. We don't need that. So here's the thing, Martine. There's a reason why there is a graphics card fund notated here. I got to a point where I can't play Baldur's Gate 3. And my graphics card is the only thing in my computer that's is the crux of things. I built this about what, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Computer's very good, very good quality, but my graphics card was from my old PC, because I couldn't afford that. I still can't afford that. We can't. Like, we are a one-income household. I have to be a full-time stay-at-home dad. Like, so it's a lot of work, and like I can't afford to do that. And do subscriptions to Twitch count for the donation goal? It doesn't. It's just bits right now, but also there is a tip link that goes to like a PayPal that will go towards it. I just have to manually do it. But I can make the subs go towards it too. I just don't get very many subs. Like, my sub world is pretty minuscule, which is fine, but it's just like that one is like so small I didn't really track it. But I can add it to that for sure. I'm essentially taking all of my payouts and just putting that towards the fund in general, but this was just an easy way to guide it. And we have, of course, our milestone markers. We hit our first one. We beat VNC Virtual Nightclub on stream, which was great. That was our 100 milestone. We're now working towards that $200 milestone, which is point and click with puppets playing King's Quest 3. King Saltine finishing King's Quest 3 on the VGA remake. And then the $300 mark, I mean, I can show you here. I'll just show you. The $300 mark is a full playthrough of Journey to Heaven, which there is no walkthrough of this game. There's about a minute of video footage online of this adventure game, a Myst style adventure game, but it is a Christian one. Makes VNC look tame in comparison. It's insane. And then at 400 we do a full playthrough of Seaman. Now this is pie in the sky. I want to stress that like the $1,000 mark, the $750, those are pie in the sky numbers. I don't expect. Oh, that is very kind of you, my friend. That's $10. That is very nice of you. That is going towards the fund. That is very, very nice of you. That's so kind. Hold on.
Thanks for the bits, my friend. I appreciate it so. I can't say it enough. You truly are awesome.
That is very kind of you. And those are pie in the sky numbers that I don't expect to hit. But if we ever happen to do so, this is a long-term goal. This isn't something that like I'm expecting to get like right out the gate. It's a long-term goal for me. but if we ever do, there is a podcast from 15 years ago that is the Bogus Meat Factory podcast. It is cringeworthy to say the least, but there is some value to it at least. I played the old Zork web browser MMO, quote unquote, and I talk about it. And that's something that there's very little documentation of. I do talk about that a bunch, but it is very cringeworthy. It's me trying to be funny. I'm 25 years old, and I'm with my my friend Joe Fear, who's that's his real name, who I've known since elementary school at the time, and we had a big falling out. It's complicated, but yeah, and it's just a really embarrassing podcast. Yeah, we did it for a really long time, and it was really awesome. I loved it because like it introduced me to a lot of really cool people. There's this cartoonist Jay Fosgett out here, a local guy who has these really awesome comics. Dead Duck was one, but also he had a really popular one that was really that really kind of exploded, called Bodhi Troll, and he did like artwork for Marvel and stuff like this for these variant covers. Really awesome person that I got to like meet, and was just like the most sweetest guy in the world. And so we like got to talk to him about stuff, and we did a bunch of really, really cool things. It was a lot of fun. I really loved it. But yeah, no, that was also me at like just, it was a weird time. I love doing podcasts, but like I can't edit them anymore. I just don't have the time. I don't have the spoons for them, which is why I haven't done anything with like the Literate Pixel podcast anymore. And also because like, Nick's recording situation caused lots of technical difficulties that made editing almost impossible for me. And so like I couldn't continue it. I want to continue it. He's got a new computer, but he's getting his doctorate right now, so that's not in the cards. But like, man, there are more tools nowadays. Like, the problem is that when he recorded it, it would he would lose data. And so what would happen is it would skip like a second or two of recording, and it wouldn't necessarily happen during quiet moments, although sometimes it would. And so syncing up the audio was unbelievable. So this situation where syncing up audio should take you like 5 seconds, to sync it all up, made it so super easy. It would now take me anywhere between 2 to 3 hours. Not to mention having to do the editing, because we did it as a sort of an audio drama. We had, sound effects and we wrote a script and stuff like this for certain interstitials and things like this. And so like that stuff that took a lot of work, and I loved doing it because I actually like grew up with audio dramas as a kid, with like The Hobbit and like the BBC, stuff there, and the Lord of the Rings. Like I loved that stuff as a kid, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had some of that too, which is really crazy. And I grew up with that stuff and listened to it endlessly. And for me, like I always wanted to do that stuff, but there's just having that particular thing where a podcast that would take me about, an hour to edit in total was now taking like 6 to 8 hours because of everything involved in that. It was a mess. It was so unnecessary, and I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, that's way too much. It should only take me about an hour to do in total. And it was just bad. Have a wonderful night. Yeah, go get sleep. Sorry, I apologize. I'm ranting endlessly. Get rest. Thank you for coming in and keeping me company. Conversation with you is always a delight. I need to play some more DOS games for your DOS Games Club and be on your show because I love talking about games. And you're so great. You're like the nicest person on the planet. Anyway, sorry. Comrades, how are you? Come in. I don't know you, but let us sit and talk of revolution. I'm Dee. I'm Jakoth, sculptor by trade. However, my true passion lies with the revolution. I cannot wait for the day when Athos is engulfed by it. What revolution are you talking about? Why, the revolution, of course. Do away with rulers, orders, and the rest of them. A new world where everyone is equal. No one will be above anyone else. Why would anyone want a system like that? Everyone does. They just don't know it yet. Once all the wealth and supplies are distributed evenly, everyone will see how great it is. That sounds good to me. Hope it happens soon. I'm glad you're for the revolution. We'll dance in harmony when the world is equal. Nice. Communism in a post-apocalyptic fantasy world. What do? I create. I give birth to entire forms of art. Excuse me. To me falls the task of enlightening the masses. In other words, I sculpt. What are you working on now? I'm working on a piece to represent these trying times. I call it Draxen Plunder. Where's the piece? Where? Well, I haven't started it yet. The creative process is such that I take at least a month to just visualize the piece before I even begin to carve. Can I ask some questions about Sorval? Ah, yes, the now dead member of that ancient order. Although he was an opponent of the rebellion, I felt that he would join it wholeheartedly when the time came. Where were you when Sorval was killed? Here, of course. I was working on a piece when the quake occurred. The statue I was working on toppled. I was almost crushed as well. Elovan and Kel came to help me, but I was fine. Did you ever talk to Sorval? Now and again. For a member of the Order, he was very tolerant toward me. Most opponents of the rebellion will not even come near me. We talked at great lengths about the statues he was researching. Have you seen them? They are remarkable indeed. What statues are these? There are statues in the southern wing of the temple. They've been here for a very long time. We don't know who made them. Why was Sorval interested in these statues? He was researching how the statues worked. They were more than still objects, you see. These statues used to move. It's a play of some kind. Sorval told me about it once, but I wasn't really listening. Did Sorval have any enemies that you know of? Of course he had enemies. The rebellion is his enemy. Anyone who would uphold such a twisted system of government has an enemy in the rebellion. Well, did he have any other enemies? No. No one could hate Sorval. He was a model for all of us. It's a shame that statue fell on him. Such an unusual occurrence, too. What was so unusual about the statue falling? Those statues have been here for over 1,000 years. They were designed to withstand tremors 10 times the size of the one that Sorval was killed in. That statue shouldn't have fallen. Did you examine the statue? Of course. The statue had a small flaw in its foundation, and the tremor must have hit that flaw. The base cracked and the statue fell. I could swear that I checked all the statues for flaws, though. Did you regularly check the statue for flaws? Of course. It's one of my duties. To make sure that all those heavy statues are stable enough to withstand tremors. If they're not, I have to block them off in case they fall. I've told you all that I know about Sorval. This place is a mess. Why don't you clean it? Mess! This is art that nature created. Many take for granted the fine additions to the art world that nature provides. I'm merely reveling in its gift to me. That fallen statue is a symbol. What's the statue a symbol of? The power of nature. We may live on a defiled world, but we did not create it, and we most certainly will not be here when it is finally destroyed. Nature holds those cards. What? I don't follow you. Don't worry about it. I've been studying the subject for years. It takes too much time to explain. I must be going. May the winds of revolution sweep this world. I like him. He's a dork. Who's this guy? Who's here? Hello? Roan. Greetings. Can I assist you? What are you doing here? These are my quarters. What little time I have to myself I spend here. There's more to life than combat, you know. Do you ever wish you had more free time? Of course, but with all the dragons about, I don't think I'll be getting anytime soon. Is there any news about the dragons? Since you cleaned out their camp, they've been less eager to attack us directly. They must be up to something. What could it be? Perhaps you can get something out of our prisoner. What prisoner are you talking about? We captured one of their soldiers. Zedeko has neutralized its magical abilities, so it's helpless. I'd really rather kill it, but Nortimus thought it best to keep it alive. How did Zedeko neutralize his powers? I believe he enchanted the room. My devotions lie along other paths. Zedeko's methods are unknown to me. Why do you refer to the prisoner as it? Any creature that would defile or destroy the land with its magic deserves no other reference. I've had to restrain my guards so they don't kill it. Do you mind if I look around? No, I don't mind. There are some matters I'd like to discuss. Do you know what the eyes of the beast are? Eyes of the beast. It sounds familiar, but I cannot place it. Is it from a story I once heard? I can't remember. Fori may be able to help you with that. Honestly, I don't think we have anything to talk about. Okay, I'll see you later, dude. I do want to talk to the... I want to see if I can talk to the prisoner, though. I'd like to do that. I've seen Sorval's death. Okay. Who are these guys? Those were just guards. Okay. All right, let's go talk about the eyes then of the beast. That's like the next big step in understanding kind of what's going on. It stinks that music doesn't play in this, man. It drives me crazy. Thank you, Dragon, for reminding us that there's sound in this game. Oh, hello. Ulbin. Hey, the new heroes. I heard you killed some Draxons. They'll be back, don't you think? I'm Didi. I'm Ulbin, a traveling merchant. How'd you get to this temple? I believe it was on the back of the Rainy, actually. They carried me here when they found I was still alive. Where are you going? I suffer from an ailment called fatigue. I have to rest now and then. I'm on my way to do just that. Can I ask you some questions about Sorbal? I'm really rather busy right now. Ask me again later. The Draxons will be back? They'll be back. Run across Draxons in my time, and they're all the same. They do what they're told, and they keep doing it until they're all dead, or they get what they're after. They're not all dead. Alright, see you, dude. So I'm gonna go here and talk to the storyteller. I too suffer from fatigue. Don't we all, Nonchalant Nate? How are you, by the way? Hopefully not fatigued. I'd like to discuss some things with you. Do you know what Eyes of the Beast refers to? Isn't one of the statues of the Magnificent Beast? I remember Sorval mentioning something about it once. I believe those statues once moved. Something to do with water. Hard to imagine. By your look, I assume you have no more questions for me. Let us talk about something else. Alright, I'm gonna go see I'm gonna go talk to that statue then. It's Friday, my only pseudo day off. Hey, we'll take it. Any day is a good day when it's a pseudo day off. I had to go to a field trip today, so I was running around in the hot sun. It wasn't too bad though, overall. But it was a lot. Who are you guys? Oh, Brotel's here. Hello, Brotel. So the Order sends its lackeys to me now. What's wrong? Are they afraid to come to me directly? They know I'm winning, eh? Oh, I'm not part of the Order. Oh no? You're not investigating Sorval's death then? Perhaps you're working for them without knowing it. What are you talking about? Don't pretend you don't know the rebellion. I saw you talking to Galanix after the meeting. I wouldn't be surprised if you were sent here to spy on me. Why would I spy on you? The Order doesn't want me to reveal the truth about the seal, of course. I know what that thing is really for. Why did you come here? I'm getting tired of amusing you. I can discuss some things with you. I'm sorry, but I'm in a hurry. I'm missing Sorval's death. I'd like to chat, but I don't have time. Perhaps later. Okay, I'm leaving. Goodbye. Talo. Hi, Talo. Hello there. What are you going on about? What's going on? Where are you going? I'm going to my quarters. Came back with Sorval's death. Sorry, but I don't have time to talk about that now. If you could get me when I'm in my quarters, I'd be happy to talk to you. That's just okay. Revolution's going well. Nonchalant Nate. The revolution is going well. We are investigating this murder. We're making some headway. I have been, okay, so what do we got here? This is, as depicted, the statue shrouded in mystery. Didi cannot discern anything from its features. We are looking for the beast. It's this one here. The statue of this unknown beast is incredibly detailed. Didi would swear someone turned a creature that looked like this in stone rather than sculpt it. Didi examines the beast's eyes and finds a small release mechanism. Triggering it, the beast's mouth opens and a scroll falls out. Oh, okay. Oh no. Didi, please tell me you had space. Yeah, I know that I'm in danger. Before I discovered him, I thought there could not be treachery among us, and now I see it everywhere. I cannot even bring myself to pen his name. The very thought revolts me to no end. I know that my life is in danger, but I cannot bring myself to tell the others. If I don't talk him out of his scheme, someone is going to die. I've asked him to meet me here later this evening. Damn. Oh, damn. Okay. Well, I know who that is. The guy who makes the tremors. Like, Brotel talks about it. He says, hey, they're controlling the tremors and causing, like, to subjugate the people. And the dude who controls the tremors is like, hey, can't search my room. So obviously that's the answer. That's the guy. Okay. So we gotta go talk. Yeah, there's another tremor. There's Galanix. He's the one responsible. He's the one doing it. Greetings, adventurer. What brings you to me? I have matters to discuss. I believe that Sorval was murdered. Murdered? I have seen nothing to support such a claim. If this is indeed a logical conclusion, then present your proof. I found this scroll in one of the statues. I cannot believe this. This is Sorval's writing. Yet I have never heard him sound so frightened. We can take no chances. I must call a meeting immediately. Normus calls in a guard and quickly dispatches him to call all the Brini together. Let us go to the meeting hall. Come. Honestly, I don't think that we have anything to discuss yet. Let's go. Big moment.
I have called this meeting for one reason. I wish to deal with the rumors that Sorval's death was not an accident. There are those among you that have even accused the Order of killing Sorval. Although I know this to be false, I now possess evidence that suggests that Sorval was indeed murdered. In a council. Yes, Quiet. This is not the time to talk. Listen to me. As some of you are aware, I gave the adventurers permission to look into Sorval's death. They found evidence that suggests murder.
How are we to know they are not the murderers themselves? You have given them access to everything.
Sorval was killed days before these adventures ever appeared. How would you suggest they killed Sorval without being here? No, they are not responsible. But there is one among us that is. In order to find that one, I am sealing the temple. Roan, see that no one gets in and out of the temple, except the farming group, and account for all of those that do. Done. Excellent. The search for the murderer will begin immediately. The adventurers who started it will see it through to its conclusion. Please give them your full cooperation. I am appalled at the thought that a Varini would do this to another, especially to Sorval. Whomever you are, I pity you. That is all. Go about your business.
It's right there. It's right there. It's him. It's the right one right there. He did it. Yeah, and this is just them saying the things. Gasps and whispers run like wildfire through the assembly, disrupting the silence. And quiet, blah, blah, blah. Yes, killed days before. Chatter begins almost immediately, breaking the dead silence left by Nortimus' announcement. Varini begin to move in all directions, going back to their own duties. You decide to wait it out rather than fight your way through the crowd of Varini. Okay, let's save, but in a different save in case this is timed. We don't want to be in a bad situation. Sorval, and thanks for all the fish. Okay. So this leads to the seal. That's the seal right there. So we need to go north and get into what's his nuts place. There's Fori, Chander. So I need your device. Can you help me? I found the scroll in the B size. I'm flattered. How can I help you? Can I see it? Yes. Looks like Sorrel may have been murdered. I find it hard to believe Irini would do something like that, though. I wish Sorrel wasn't so vague. Take this to Enormous. He must read this. I believe there's a murder among us, as if the Draxons weren't enough. Enormous thinks there's a murder. Yes, I know. I was at the meeting. You're the ones who started this, so it's up to you to talk to Roan. She might have some information you can use. Who do you think killed Sorval? I don't like to think that another Irini was responsible, but that's the only explanation. Ubin and I were the only humans here at the time. Do you think Ubin could have done this? If there's one thing you learn about a merchant, it's how to read people. Ubin's not a murderer. Do you think a Draxon did this? I don't think so. The Irini have a special hatred for any kind of evil. A Draxon would be detected immediately. I've seen how Irini deal with defilers. I don't want to again. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, where's his quarters? I know this. Yeah, let's change the subject. Okay, we're good. Fori tells stories. I don't need to talk to Fori yet. I need to go up here. Ooh. Hey, Nordimus. Hello again. Have you discovered that the rebels are behind the entire mess? It couldn't be anyone else. I mean, I got some discovery. No, okay. Nothing for him. What are you doing here? I'm on my way to the antechamber. Goodbye. We gotta go investigate Galvanex's room. Also talk to the there's Galvanex's room. I gotta go there. Not only that though, but if you're going to certain places, he'll have commentary about what's going to happen and like what he thinks is going on. Small panel, the door slides open. What do you want? I'm investigating Sorrel's. I'd like to look around in your quarters. I'm sorry, but I cannot allow that. My work is too important to be interfered with. Why are you being so secretive? Do a lot of delicate research, and I need my privacy. Your interference could cost me days of work. I promise I'll be careful. Glad to hear that, but I'm not letting you into my quarters. The last time I was distracted, I missed a calculation, and now Sorval's dead because of it. But Sorval was murdered. Regardless, someone else could have been killed by my error. I don't want that to happen again. Your presence here jeopardizes my work. Look, I don't have time for all this questioning. I've been distracted from my work for long enough. Good day. Welcome, readers, one and all. Gladys, 128. Shout out. How are you today? Welcome, readers. How are you? What are we playing? Xenoblade Chronicles 3. You're good. Thank you very much for coming in. Thank you for sharing everybody, your community to our little channel here. It's a pleasure to have you. How was Xenoblade Chronicles 3 treating you today? Have you played it before? Are you a big fan of the series? I have gotten like deep into Xenoblade Chronicles, the first one, right? And never got, I never beat it, but I got really far into it, loved it to death. And Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U was a beefy game, man. I played a lot of that on the Wii U. That was a good time. Your mom, how are you today? Welcome. For all the raiders coming in, by the way. So yeah, sorry, give a follow. If you enjoy JRPGs, obviously, and Xenoblade Chronicles, give them a follow. They're fantastic. Redis, it's really great. It's really a pleasure to have you. Have you had to make Bartini's elixir yet? No, I have not yet. Oh. You're playing my speed of games here. Yes. RPGs are always fantastic and always been one. This is, for those who have never met me before. Hi, I'm Bogus Meat Factory. I've been playing video games now for over 35 years. I'm an old man. And I've been streaming now for over 10. I celebrated my 10-year stream anniversary back in the end of February. Our very first game was Chrono Trigger, which I had never beaten before. And that was a great time. That was so long ago. I'm a variety streamer. I play a little bit of everything. And I do mean that very literally. Like, I play every genre, every generation, every platform. Nothing is sacred. We play every type of game imaginable, be it the most obscure or the most beloved. It doesn't matter. I just love to play games and express what I love about games and why they work so well and why they're so awesome and magical. Because I've never, like, there's very few games that I've ever been like, oh, I don't like this game. It's very few. This one is very obscure. This is a sequel to my all-time favorite DOS RPG. The first one, of course, is Dark Sun Shattered Lands. It's an SSI adventure, an RPG. As part of like post Gold Box. They used to make these Gold Box Dungeons and Dragons RPGs from the 80s that were beloved. Some of the best box art you'll ever see. Nothing is sacred except for the bizarre and strange. Even know what I mean? Like nothing is sacred, and nothing is untouchable. Like I'll play it. I'll play it. It doesn't matter. Nothing is like, oh, I can't play that game. That's too good. Like it's too much. You know, it's not my thing. I'll play it. And so I've always attempted to play this game a lot. When I was a kid, I'd beat Dark Sun Shattered Lands, carry my party over to the next game, and I'd bounce off of Wake of the Ravager so many times. And I was like, well, it must be because the game is bad. And now as an adult, and of course, having much better insight in the world, and making that attempt again, but this time with a little bit of distance between it. We played and beat Dark Sun Shattered Lands on stream for the first time for the audience. I've beat it a million times back in December. And I gave it a couple months so that I could let it just sit and simmer and come back into this. This game is buggy. I will say that this one is a lot more buggy than Shattered Lands. I don't enjoy the visual aesthetic compared to the first one. It's a little too zoomed in. It looks a little bit more muddy and pixelated. It doesn't, fit with me very well. But I will say that like how they approach quests now, and they're kind of more dynamic and really fascinating set pieces that I really enjoy, that stand out a lot more than Shattered Lands. And its combat is still very fulfilling, but also a little bit more challenging in a way where I have to use all my tools at my disposal in a really positive way. And it's been a lot of fun having to do that. Would I necessarily recommend this game? Not necessarily for a lot of folks, but for me, I'm loving it to death. I find it to be a really good successor to the game. I just wish it wasn't so buggy. They went a bit nuts with CD-ROM. Of course they did. Have I tried scanlines? Oh, for like the visual element of it? I mean, I played this back on an old monitor and I still felt it was pretty gnarly. So like nothing's changing. But like I even I have a lofty goal to play every D&D game ever made. So one day I will play this. Your Mom, Dark Sun Shattered Lands is a gem, and it's one that I just feel, it feels so good to play. And Wake of the Ravager is also still really, really good. But I dig the D&D games just in general, like just as they're so varied and strange in a lot of ways. And like Al-Qadim is another SSI one that's a little more Zelda-y, which is wild. Do not play this without playing Shattered Lands. 100%, Radis. 100%. You must play Shattered Lands first. Because one, it's fun to carry your characters over. But also it's just a joy to play. It's just a joy to play. Sorry, we're investigating a death here, because again, I have not gotten this far ever before. I'm DD. Investigating Sorwell's death. So we're not going to get in your way. I'm just looking around. I'd ask you to leave, but you helped us with the Draxons. Yeah. Can't tell me about Sorwell. Yeah, we've done this already, but I was just like, I want to go interview this Draxon. In all honesty, like, that's why I want to interview this dude. You knock on the door. I'll be right there. Volcano Town. I've enjoyed this one. The mines in Tyr and that whole like quest line, I really dug. And I actually enjoyed it being timed. It's like it seems like they have some timed quests. And in the case of the mine one, like if you don't do it in time, it's not a failure, but it's like you did the worst possible job you could, but you still get the job done. Can I come in? Unless you get permission from Roan. How am I supposed to get permission? You need a reason to come in here. And you need to talk to Roan, but okay, gotta go. Roan's apartment is... Where's Roan's quarters? Roan's quarters are south. Not there. I think it's over this way. I just recently also beat Ravenloft in like January, And I loved Ravenloft, man. Shroud's Possession, and we're gonna do Storm Prophet at some point. So like I have a pretty set schedule. I play Fridays and Sundays, 7 p.m. Eastern to midnight, and those are usually our time for big, beefy, lofty RPGs or games that take a lot of time. And then Mondays and Wednesdays I play 9 p.m. Eastern to midnight. Those are like our lighter stuff, adventure games, stuff that's anywhere between 5 and 15 hours typically. And these two games are great to run for speedrun. Sorry, forgive me. Run for speedrun, 100%. A game is great for speedruns if it's glitchy and janky. I love a little jank in games, and one of the big reasons why is because I care far more about a game being interesting than being good. And it's got to have a good hook for me. And those hooks can be a lot of different things. And folks who know me and have like been in my streams before know that like there are some steadfast ones that like are easy to kind of suss out. I love games with lore, like heavy lore. I love games that have that are very kind of ephemeral. They're very kind of like chill vibes. I like games with chill vibes. I also very much just love games that are social games where you're getting to interact with other people and that sort of thing. But then there's other weird things, weird quirks. Like I can't stand games that are like way too flirtatious with me. And they're like, hey, you like this? I'm like, dude, I want to play the game. Like, I don't want to sit here and ogle you. We're good. But like other weird stuff that I'm just like, it's just not my thing. Like, but other stuff that I really love, I'm like, I love a good bathroom in video games. We need more video game bathrooms for some reason. It just makes me think that they're awesome. And like weird attention to detail stuff. It doesn't have to be of a particular topic. I just love, like, I love the Shenmue series, and I love being able to like open every drawer and pick everything up and just look at everything. Sorry. Matters I need to discuss. Nonimus gave me permission to investigate. Galanex will not let me into his room. After reading that note, as much as Galanex is above suspicion to me, no one is now. I may be able to help you. Interested? Yes. I can arrange it so one of my guards calls on him, requesting that he come and see me. I can make up a reason. That's not a problem. The problem is going to be keeping him long. Want to try it? Yeah. Okay, but remember, this is going to have to be quick. 5 minutes at the most. Go to the order hall and wait in Sorval's room. My guard will be there shortly. Almost forgot. Here's the key to his room. You can't carry it, so I'll leave it here for you. But you'd be advised to have it with you when we do this. Our locks are quite tough to pick. Go now. Remember, go into Sorbal's room and keep the door closed until he's gone. With glory. Okay. Yeah, we need to clear out DD's inventory bit. We are pack rats. Let's see. I haven't seen you play a lot of action. Probably because it doesn't have a lot of lore. Don't you have that Maraca game? Hold on. Do you happen to mean... Oh, I'm gonna knock a lamp over. Do you happen to mean... Things over. This one? Somebody amigo? Of course I do. Of course I do. Come now. What kind of question is that? I love everything. It's more, I have to be in the mood for the genre. I have to be just kind of, the mood has to call me. We went through Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2, just recently, fairly recently. 2 we just beat just recently. And with action games, what happens is that I need to have some kind of varied gameplay loop. If I understand the game really quickly, and it doesn't really change much as we progress, I get kind of bored with it. It's not the game's fault. It's just like, oh, I figured it out. You don't have any surprises for me anymore. Like a game like Duke Nukem is a little bit more interesting for me, 3D, Duke Nukem 3D, just because its environments are so weird and varied. And it always just felt like the locations were novel and different. And it always kind of surprised me where you were going to end up. And they had weird little environmental interactions, which were just kind of fun to do. That sort of stuff kind of drives me a little bit more. I love fighting games. I don't stream them as much, just because it's got to have a story for me to stream it. Because I feel like people watching me just like play fighting games over and over again, and not like single player ones, and not having anyone to play with. It's not that exciting to see. And of course, MMORPGs I love to death. I play so many MMOs. You'd probably love Game Dev Tycoon. Well, your mom. Now, there is something that we do with fighting games, though, that is exciting. Fightcade does interactive, absolutely. But we like to do CPU versus CPU tournaments. And having the computers fight it out if the game supports CPU versus CPU. And those are so awesome. They are fantastic. There's going to be one coming up, I feel like. I'm starting to feel the urge. Asuka 120%, one of your favorites. That was so good. We had so much fun. I'm probably going to bust out Street Fighter EX for a CPU versus CPU tournament. That supports it. And probably that might be the next one. We have a goal on the milestones for a Street Fighter 6 one, but that's much higher. Yeah, Street Fighter EX plus Alpha, your mom, doesn't get the credit it deserves. Now, I'm a Virtual Fighter fan. I'm a sorry, we're not playing, we're talking right now. This happens. We'd also, so what happens in my CPU versus CPU tournaments is people use channel points to sponsor a fighter. And that's your guy. We do a round robin tournament. And it goes multiple days. It's not just one day. It's a round robin tournament, and people use channel points, of course, to bet on the fights just for fun. Like, it's just for fun. You don't win anything. I wish I could give away prizes, but I cannot afford any right at the moment. But yeah, people get to sponsor their fighter, and it's so fun to just play with that stuff. We do that with sports games too, like but ones that have to be really interesting, like we did it with there's a Japanese Super Nintendo baseball game that is all about Coke products. And so they have like the Coke cats, the Coca-Cola cats, and they're all like animals, but with and they have like anime powers. It's really wild. We did a tournament with that, and Super Baseball Simulator 1000. And those are so much fun. Sorry, to talk about fighting games, I love Virtual Fighter as a series. I think that is like the jazz of fighting games, and it is for me like the pinnacle of like what makes a fighting game so special and intimate. I like to use that word a lot. And Virtual Fighter is always one of those ones that just is near and dear to my heart. I wish VF4 Evolution was great. Virtual Fighter 5 even. I really do think that Virtual Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown is so absolutely fantastic. They really had it refined to such a point. And what drives me crazy is that people didn't like it as much because it's a series where you are almost always reading the player versus reading the character. And for a lot of folks, they don't like doing that. That's starting to change now because Street Fighter 6 is also kind of leaning in that direction, where it gives you a lot of universal tools to use, where you now have to rely on understanding the player and their habits versus understanding the character itself. And it's a good like mix between those two things. But a lot of folks really don't enjoy reading the player. They like to just know what the opponent character can do and be able to address that specifically versus knowing what that player can do. Make sure your headphones are on for how intimate Bogus will get with your ears. I aspire to get that Bogusta haircut. Oh yeah, that Bogusta haircut is something beautiful right there. I could rock that one. Your mom says, I spent a brief time as an FGC coach, and reading the player is the most important thing. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. You know, and when you see the stuff at like the highest level of play, typically a lot of those players have played each other a million times. You know, I was playing Street Fighter 5, wasn't Ultimate Showdown at the time, it was Final Showdown on the PlayStation 3. with the competitive players, and yeah, like just get in a lobby with a bunch of people and just play and rotate and just talk and like discuss like, hey, that really worked well. Whoa, that's really tricky. I've got to look for that thing. And it seemed like a lot of those really competitive players were playing just to see what other players would do and pick up and have that just in their book. Like I played a pie character, and I would always do certain moves that were really unorthodox, but they would really mix people up, and it would make them have to play this guessing game. And they were like, this is awesome. Like, this is really good. Like, this is good stuff. Like, that's going to be helpful when we play better. Now, I'm not going to say I'm any good, but I was better than like the average player of the game, but I was not by any means good. But I love that stuff. It was so much fun. Sorry, we picked up the key, right? We have the key. Did Bogusta take the key? Did someone take the key? Where did it go? I'm pretty sure I have the key. I hope I do. All right, let's go. Zoink. We have to go in here. But that's awesome, your mom. Definitely. Fighting games are fantastic, and we love fighting games. We are fans of the fighting game. Game. Can I? Oh no. Can we close this door? There. The guard talks briefly to Galanix. The door opens and Galanix leaves with the guard, locking the door after him. Oh, dude. Hold on, we gotta save. Oh. Sneaky sneak. The door won't open, my ass. The door will absolutely open. Doesn't matter whether the door will open or not. Come on. Where's the hotspot for it? What are you doing? What are you doing, game? Jesus. It scares me every time. Door's locked and looks quite sturdy. Use the key Rowan gave you. Dee inserts the key into the lock and turns it. The door opens easily. Okay, we gotta go. All right, let's see. What do we got? Trash. The trash pile is full of discarded formula and equations. Dee moves around the pile but finds nothing of interest. You don't have time to not find anything of interest, Dee. Hold on. Who's going to be in charge? Who's got our highest in...
Want some rye? Of course you do.
Let's put Lip in charge, just in case. Trash. Doesn't find anything of note. We're still looking. Turns up nothing. We're turning something up, for the love of God. The trash pile is full of discarded formula. The book is about to give up when he finds a folded piece of paper deep in the pile. Oh man, yeah, dude, let's talk about that. So tell me about it if you want to. You don't have to, of course, your mom. You say you didn't like the direction the FGC went in the late 2010s. Can you elaborate? I'm curious. Not to say that I want to stress that, like, I'm not trying to call you out or like disagree with you here. I'm actually just genuinely curious. Sorry, the paper dated last week is covered with times and numbers, presumably for quakes. Several of the entries have checks and minuses next to them. You wonder why Galanix would throw this out. Get. There's gotta be something else in here, right? Luckily, we are stopping time with this. Let's see. I think that's the only one. Okay. Lip closes the door. No, close lip. Close the door. Lip. Did you close the door? Okay, the door's closed and locked. Apparently, we're fine. Put bluntly, the community started focusing on toxicity and being Twitter famous and less about the game. Structurally, of course, fighting games are flourishing more than ever, but my time coaching just exposed me to so much negativity, it's time to give up. Yeah, what was interesting, right? There was definitely, like, I kind of get what some of the stuff they were trying to do, because there was definitely a point in time, and I don't know if this is around the era that you were talking about it, but, like, and I think this may have been like a result of them saying like there was too much negativity and too much toxicity. Let's try to channel that into trying to do some kind of like wrestler side of things, of having heels and stuff like that. You could definitely tell there's some people who are playing it up to be like kind of wrestler style thing, but also some of them did not make that distinction, right? And the community as a whole, one of the big problems that one of the problems when you start to go that way is that a lot of folks can't make that distinction, especially when it's not something like wrestling is entertainment, paid entertainment. Fighting game community stuff, like, that's not, most of those folks there are not being paid to be there, and it's not like a show that you're buying a ticket for typically. And then of course all that stuff bleeds out. They don't know they're being a character for some of them. And people just start to be that way. And then there are some folks who are fighting game like people who are just toxic and just are shitty. There are so many. Oh my God, so many. All right, so let me go. I'm going to go talk to our boy over here, the scientist. Oh, yeah, Tom Brady. People were surprised about him. I wasn't. Exactly. Well, that's the thing, right? And I like to always say, like, hey, we're all human beings. Nobody's perfect. That sort of thing. But then there are some people who are like, yeah, nobody's perfect, and I don't give a fuck. And they're like, I'm going to be a shitty person. Yes, I'll be right there. Okay, come on, let's why are you saying that? You say like, hey, come over here. Elements first. Mildly aggressive. Your non-committed attacks draws Zetiko's pieces out to take advantage of your weakened lines. There are very few complex. Oh man. Dude, I want to beat you. Tell me about Stormal. Told me he'd been killed. He was one of the few who'd come to visit. Nice fellow. Shame he's dead. Okay. Never mind. He's not gonna help me with what I need then. Alright. So who's gonna... I mean, I guess I can show this to Roan. And see what they think about it. Yeah, your mom brings up, I also didn't like how the community would just jump ship to the new game, even while openly hating it. Like, I played Third Strike mainly. That game lasted 30 years. It was, like, of course it had that slow start, but, like, what's fascinating is we talk about, people wanting to legitimize video games and, like, esports, I know. That's a poison word in the FGC, but like esports, video games being considered a genuine competitive sport of sorts and competition. But it's hard when those companies who are developing these games, they're not, most of them nowadays, they try to, and it's forced and weird, but like most of them are just making games so that they can sell games. So the FGC is like, well, it's new. We have to go to this. You don't, but I know you want to do something new, and it's tough when I feel like at least something may have changed here with Street Fighter 6 though, your mom, and you may see this too. I don't know if you do or not, but with something like Street Fighter 6, it's hard to have a surefire strategy, right? Games only last as long as there's something new to find or new to discover or new ways to approach it, right? I feel like Street Fighter 4 did a pretty decent job with creating a lot of new ways to play and new ways to engage with the mechanics. A new meta, absolutely. And I think that Street Fighter 6 does a really great job because of its balance of the universal tools everyone has and how they can be applied in a variety of different ways. And of course, the ever-changing mechanics of each character and new characters being introduced, changing that meta. But like, if it doesn't have anything interesting that's going to last a long time, they're going to move on. But also, if you change so much constantly, they get frustrated because they can't settle. You need to have things settled. You know, you need to define the metas, settle, and then discover new things as things settle. But there's always that major fluctuation and this need for balance in a way that is destructive. I actually think the advent of patching games online ruined fighting games and turned the community into crybaby whiners. America hated Third Strike for years and years. And look at it now, like nearly 30 years later, people still do new stuff in that game. Absolutely, because they didn't dedicate the time to figure it out. They didn't dedicate that time then. And of course, it only started to gain a foothold at a point when fighting games were dying as a genre, a popular genre. You know, is at the tail end of that huge burst. And people were kind of moving towards 3D, of course, and 3D fighters with like Tekken and Virtua Fighter being, you know, vastly more popular at that point. And what's fascinating is that we don't design, and we with this idea of we over design. That's the best way to describe it. We over design, and then we are constantly having to tweak it to meet this philosophy, this design philosophy that is, in all honesty, not, it is not, you can't, it won't hold up in the long term. Yeah, and like, so your mom, you say like, Capcom was accidentally good at how they did things. There were always 5 versions of every Street Fighter game that was the patch. I think leaving the game alone actually helps players get good. Nowadays, it's just, man, X character's OP, needs to be nerfed. No, just get good. Learn the matchup. Nobody lost to the character. Everyone always loses to the player, unless the game is hideously balanced. And in my opinion, that's really rare. You know, rare instance, what, like, was it Super Turbo's Sagat? I think it was the one, right? Was it Super Turbo? It was one of the Street Fighter 2 Sagats. I can't remember which. Like that was like a broken situation. But I would say absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. What happens and why something like Smash Brothers is a great example, right? Like Melee, you didn't have a patch for that. You need, so like with characters, sorry, I go into rants about this. Sorry, I do apologize. I know we're supposed to be playing RPGs and we're talking fighting games right now. Typically, the most popular characters are the ones that are the most quote unquote OP because everybody's playing them, everybody's doing the research, and everyone's finding the tricks, right? And then the counters to those things can sometimes lay in the wake of the less popular characters that people aren't getting into. No, it's not your fault. I love talking this stuff. Look, I don't, your mom, no joke, I don't care. I want to talk about what I want to talk about. But I think that what happens is that people need to do their work and legitimize a whole variety of characters because they do have they do have legitimate tools to stop and counter those things that are considered overpowered. And I mean, you see that with like your mom says, I thought Third Strike was one of the worst balanced games ever, which it is, but parries exist, so you can just get good. I mean, Sean, and I was top 10 on PSN, 100%, because that's the thing. That's the thing that makes Third Strike good, and why I also feel that Street Fighter 6 is very good. I don't know what your thoughts are on that one, but that's just my own. Is, again, Street Fighter 3 offers a lot of universal tools, those universal mechanic tools that everyone has access to, that are a skill-based equalizer, right? And those are super important. And I like to say that that's the same case with something like Virtua Fighter, with just how everything is kind of delayable and set at the pace of the player versus just being a preset, amount of frames. Like combos have can all be delayed based on your inputs, and kind of there's a big gap on how you can move things. I didn't get Street Fighter 6, of course. I've seen it, but like I stopped by then. Yeah, the damage had been done. I don't blame you one bit. But yeah, it's fascinating. It's fascinating people's inability to adjust. They only want to look online, look at the guides, and follow the textbook. And that's not what makes a healthy community. That's not what makes a vibrant community. You need that variety. And oh yeah, oh god, you bring up Street Fighter 5, don't give me the Street Fighter 5, man. Oh. Man. Learn the game, learn your opponent. That's why you gotta get into coaching. Yeah, absolutely. Those who can't do, coach. It's those who can't do, teach. Those who can't teach gym. Like that's it. Don't rely on those bread and butters. You have to be able to recognize when people are going on autopilot and just doing the bread and butters and doing the basics, and how to mix things up and adjust in those situations. If you can't do that, then you're not going to be successful playing competitively. And it's really interesting to see people. And this is the case across the board. I love MMORPGs. The same argument can be said about PvP and MMOs and class balance and Overwatch and like the rock, paper, scissors strategy of fighting games. Thank you. Kind of a giant Virtua Fighter fan. So like it's not always a guessing game, but it is a statistics game. It is what is this person likely going to do? And the only way you can know that is based on what they have done. And that's why like a first to 10 is always like a really telling thing about the player. If you play a first to 10, and like if you get downloaded, it exposes you dramatically, right? Because you'll see like the really great players like lose and be down like 0-6 and then win. And like, how? Like, what? It's because they downloaded them at that point. They are just simply experimenting and looking for those holes and then exposing those holes. Like a guy I was coaching had the talent, but not the reads. Yeah, I'd be kind of that guy. Like, I have the reflexes. I tell him, this guy does this counters that, and it worked. I'm one of those people that like, I have great instincts. My execution is off. So like there are certain things where I have to rely on in order to overcome those. My execution is really off on like Street Fighter 6 and stuff like this. Exposure holes to me. Don't say that in a tournament. Oh no, say that in the tournament. Say exposure holes to me. See what they say about that. And what's funny, your mom, is that like I thought doing a stick would make me better. And I'm better on pad. Like I'm a much better pad player than I am a stick player. It's just really funny. Like, but of course, Saturn pad. I've got a Saturn pad mod, like, and that's just how I play, and it works a lot better. Execution is always horrible, like 3 out of 10. Mind games, I was no lie, 9 out of 10. And like obviously not everyone will agree, but there were some top players who realized it, who love to play me. Yeah, you have what happens is when execution's not your forte, you rely on a lot of different tricks. When execution isn't your best, so you don't work on those textbook combos. You work a lot more on reading that player and waiting for those moments and trying your best to hit them when you can. And that is always a fascinating wild card. It's funny. It's great. Then I got old and my execution got even worse. That's one of those things I also like. I love is like those people who have execution issues. They're great to play against because, and I'm one of those people. It's because you bring different tools to the table, and you bring something different. You're creative. You're far more creative, and that creativity helps them understand that stuff a lot better. Anyway, sorry. Let's see. There's some matters I'd like to discuss. I found a list of times in Galanix's quarters. Yes, one of Galanix's duties is to keep track of the quakes and tremors that hit the volcano. Actually, there's a method to it, but Galanix is the only one that can pinpoint them to the second. That's all you found. I'm afraid that we wasted time. I don't see how that list involves Galanix and Sorwell's death. I know Galanix seems guilty, but this is not enough to go on. I think you need to spend more time looking for clues. Perhaps someone around the site of the accident saw something. I'd like to talk to everyone in the southern wing. Okay. Let's go. Someone's going to know something about these numbers, though, that's for sure. My reaction times aren't so much an issue, even still at 40. Surprisingly, it's still really well. I had to, in order to get an ADHD diagnosis as an adult, they made me do a cognitive function test, which is typically for people with like traumatic brain injuries, which was kind of annoying. And one of the things was a reaction time thing. They're like, hey, push this button whenever you see this letter flash on screen. And like my reaction times were like in the hundredths of a second. And the guy's like, reaction times aren't a problem. That's for sure. Here. Corey, how's it going? I'd like to discuss some things with you. Do you know anything about quake times? Galanix is in charge of the quake times. He was perfected a method of predicting the quake times down to the second. He relied on his list to warn us about the quakes. Does Galanix ever make mistakes on his list? His system's quite thorough, young one. He rarely misses the times for the quakes. Alright, oh, yeah. I already did that. Changes the change. Let's go. I treat fighting games like a rhythm game, and that's what I love. I love rhythm games. Every game is a rhythm game. Every game has a rhythm and beat to it, with the inputs and what you can and can't do. Even in something like this, which is kind of funny, but it's true. When those inputs get registered and that sort of thing can alter how you play, and you can actually be better or worse at it because of it. That Doom metal background, it's so good, right? Hey, Zerax. Ask you a question about Sorval? No. You don't have anything new. There was a guard here. He's gone. Oh, there was a kid who didn't want to talk to me. Right? Let's go to the kids' room. He might know something now. He had a name. He's a named one. Winter. Please leave me alone. I'm not feeling good, and I don't talk to strangers. Hi, Rini child. Do you know anything about Sorval? Is he the one that worked on the statues? He was nice. He let us look at the books. He used to draw the statues in his books. It was nice. Cool. Goodbye, have fun. Bye, kids. Alright, let's see. Yeah, let's talk to the rebels. The rebels are going to be the one. Let's go talk to our boy, Brotel. The No-Tell Brotel. Where's he at? Is he not here? Hey, dude, where's your brother at? Yeah, the earthquakes are happening again. Hey, Prosser. Did you hear that Sorval was murdered? Yeah, I guess that's why I was so upset that last day. I've never seen him like that before. He was always so nice to me. He let me look at his books and sketches. What kind of books did he show you? Well, he used to show me a book that he was writing all about the statues. It had pictures and everything. I really liked that one. Do you know where that book is now? Well, I don't know where it is, honest. Do you know anything, did you see anything else about the statues? He showed me some of the sketches he made and told me about how they worked. He said that water made them move, but I don't know how. Did you ever notice anything strange that day? I got the statues. He sent me away. That was strange. I left, and a little later, the tremor happened. Okay, let's go. Tell me the truth. Where's the book? Promise you won't be mad with me? It was just lying there when Sorval was killed. Nobody was paying attention to it, and it was getting kicked around, so I took it. I'm sorry. That's okay. Just give me the book. Thanks. I didn't mean any harm here. I hope you find Sorval's murderer. Why would anyone want to hurt him? Okay, good. Let's take a look at this book. This book is written in Sorval's flowing script. It outlines his research on the statues and their working. Okay, so the Fool. Why the statue was included with such an otherwise Oh, let's start at the beginning. We got to start with the musician. The interior of the musician, from my tests, is hollow, with most of the space taken up by large chambers and very few gears. There's a hole for air in the back of it, and what looks like to be a pump within. Could it be that the musician used water to pump in air and divert it through the chambers to make music? I see no other answer. This must truly have been a spectacular creation. Unfortunately, the musician fared badly from the magma, and many of the lower chambers are half filled with solid rock, so I cannot go any further with it. The Sage. As to what this represented, I believe it was peace or healing. The figure is clearly connected with nature, as is observed from the branch it carries and the laurel around its brow. As to its workings, this statue had the least amount of movement. Only the head and arms are jointed. I cannot begin to even guess at its role to play. Only the head and arms are jointed. Okay, the beast. The beast is indeed the central one of all of them. I feel that it must represent fear or some other idea that its creators felt embodied, something terrible and feared. All the other statues look as if they're made to react to the beast. Whoever designed them was indeed a genius, not only artistically, but mechanically. Sketches of its research workings are in my journal. A complex series of gears driven by water must have run the entire play. This device must have told a story of some kind. I cannot determine its specifics. My journal contains more theories than sketches. It is unfortunate the magma restricts my research, so it has filled up parts of some of the statues, making them inoperable. I'll transfer my journal entries here when I complete more research. Since the bindings on my journal was destroyed, I rebound it with the cover of the old mineral analysis book that was rotting away. Oh, the Frightened One. The Frightened One is the best name I can come up for it. For that is what it depicts. A cowering figure with arms raised to his face. Apparently this was to represent the creators. I say this because he cowers before the beast and is not looked at by all the others in the circle. This would suggest that the statue is afraid of something that is looming over him, out of his control. His mechanics are quite complex, for he kneels and also uses his arms. Water pressure must have been used to stand him, and then he would cower, then the water was let out of the chambers. Apparently there was something that the creators knew was coming, but did not or could not stop. I believe solving the puzzle of these statues could lead me to learn just what happened to Athos. The Cloaked One. The most mysterious of all the statues, this one is completely inaccessible to me because it is almost completely filled with magma. I cannot open its cloak, nor do I want to try for fear of breaking it. Perhaps this was the representation of the unseen force that drove the beast to destroy. Whatever it is indeed sinister, and I feel unclean even touching it. The Fool. Why this statue was included with such an otherwise morose ensemble is beyond me. There's nothing that would suggest its purpose other than it seems completely oblivious to its surroundings. Perhaps that is just the point, that most of the people were oblivious to the oncoming beast, and so were consumed when it came upon them. Mechanically, the statue is a treat, for its arms appear to have actually tossed objects back and forth in a mimicry of juggling. Whatever it juggled is long gone, but it must have been a ball of some kind. The science involved in making the fool juggle is astounding. Perfectly predicting the object's path from one hand to another is indeed a great feat. Conclusions. I must conclude from these statues that whoever created them, and this temple, knew more than all of our great preservers and priests will ever know. The number of inventions that are possible after investigating these statues is indeed incredible. I cannot wait to share this knowledge with my fellow Verini and all of Athos. However, I'm far from finished with my research, and I believe that I will be occupied with these statues until the day I die. Hopefully by then I'll have answers to many questions. Let's see. He's murdered. Let's see. Goodbye. I need to talk to your brother, though, man. Let's get this picked up. Are you guys normal Verini? Level 10, which tells me that there's a possibility we'd have to fight them in the future. Let's see if I can get this water. Because, like, we see water around here, and I'm curious if, like, that's a thing we can actually get. No. See if there's any... Hey, Winter. Please leave me alone. What is wrong with Winter, man? What are you playing? I don't know. I think we're playing Slowpoke. You want to play too? Yeah, I'd like to play. Okay. What do you know anything about Sorval? What do you think of the Order? Rebels? Okay, they're kids. They don't know. Interesting. And so the fool was knocked over. Let's investigate this again, because they talked about it, like, statue's fallen over, but remarkably, it is still intact. The Pilikos marvels at the work that went into sculpting it. Dee Dee, how's it going? Whoops. Let's look at all these. The statue reminds Pilikos of the druids he has run across in his travels. It holds a laurel branch in one hand. As depicted, the statue is enshrouded in mystery. Pilikos cannot discern anything from its features. Although made of stone, the musician looks quite talented. Pilikos wonders how this music would sound if it were indeed real. And then what is this one here? The coward, right? Yeah. Can I do something down here? Oh, playing FF14? Oh no. How's it going for you? Overall, I hope it's still going well in the end, you know? Let's see if any of these Verini are who we need to talk to. Verini, no, they're not important. They're the generics. Oops. What was this book up here? I forget. What are you playing as? Okay, that's just a recipe book. Okay, that's not what we're looking for. Okay. I gotta go talk to the head dude. Playing as a dragoon right now. Very nice. I was ranting about this the other day. Someone in this MMO community that I was talking to, they wanted suggestions. They were looking for a suggestion for an MMO to play. And they were like, the only requirement I have, this is it, this is my only requirement, is that I can play as a dwarf, And it isn't any of the big ones. EverQuest, WoW, Dark Age of Camelot, Final Fantasy XIV, etc., etc. None of those ones. That's it. That's my only requirements. So I hit him up with like half a dozen suggestions. And his reactions are, 1, I've added new requirements. Not 2D, not an isometric view, not, no weaves, quote unquote weaves, not Eastern developed, no tryhards. I can only, can be soloable, not player driven. And it's like, I'm sorry, what? Like, good luck with that, I guess. And I was like, it's like this dude wants to make his own game. Your mom, yeah. And I was just like, okay, good luck with that. Here's one that fits those requirements. Yeah, but they got like dragons in it, and like that seems to be a thing that they talk about a lot. And like, I don't care. It's like, we can be a dwarf, and it has a dwarf city. And it's like, yeah, but there's like a lot of crafting in that, and like, no, it's like that's not required in the game though. Yeah, thanks for your suggestion. Next. And I was like, okay, whatever, man. Good luck. Go find what you're looking for. I hope you find it. Hi, Olbin. Can I ask you some questions about Sorval? Oh, okay, where you going? Yeah, you got fatigue. You go sit down. You go be you. Rotel, I gotta talk to you, buddy. Come to spy on me even more? Give it up. You'll not make me conform. I want to discuss some things with you. Normus sealed the volcano. Yes, I was at the meeting. If you don't remember, why tell me? Think I'd kill Storval? Why? I want the order gone, but I don't want to resort to violence. Thanks, that's all. I want to investigate his death. The now dead order member, what would you like to know about him? Okay, dude, see ya. Okay, great. You know, you're paranoid. Hey, Tallow, what do you got for me, buddy? Sounds like a troll in all honesty, right? No, they weren't. They were it was ridiculous. It is so good to meet you. I've heard about your arrival from many of my tribe. What can I do for you? I'm Lepilogos. Pleased to meet you, Lepilogos. I'm Talo, head chief of this tribe. It's with my supervision that all these meals are prepared. If it were not for me, this tribe would starve. Talked about Sorval's death? I'm sorry, but I don't have time to talk about that now. If you could get me when I'm in my quarters, I'd be happy to talk to you. I'm the head chef. I have to ensure that everyone is well fed and enjoying their meal. There's no greater satisfaction than getting a compliment from one of my guests. Do you usually get compliments? Yes, all the time. You'd be surprised what I hear in my line of work. When you're moving around and serving people, you tend to catch parts of conversations. Some of them are quite interesting. Any of those comments worth sharing? For shame, I would never betray the trust accidentally given to me by those unaware people. I have an oath to maintain as a chef. Sorry. It would be like giving away a recipe secret. Are you sure you won't tell me what you heard? There's nothing you could say that would make me divulge any information I may have. Okay, well, what if I am, you know, investigating a murder? Man, my dude. Hey, Roan. Oh, no. Yeah, he says there's nothing more. I need your advice. I found this in Galanx's quarters. That's not unusual. Galanx is responsible for predicting the quakes, so he keeps detailed lists when they occur. Okay. Bam. Let's go talk to the dude. He might know more about this. Greetings, adventurer. What brings you to me? I have matters to discuss. I found this list in Galanx's quarters. A list? How'd you happen to get into Galanx's quarters after you were told not to? Or should I not ask? Regardless, the deed is done. Let me see the list. Here's the list. These papers are not uncommon. This one is a scratch paper for last week's quake predictions. You see, there are times on this list that we did not have quakes on. What's so interesting? This list is the time of the quake in which Sorval was killed on it. Galanx must have been disrupted while he was checking and discounted this one. No wonder he blamed himself for Sorval's death. I would not worry about this list much. This explains Galanx's mood of late. If he read over this after Sorval was killed, he must have been beside himself. Perhaps Galanx left this time off on purpose. Do you know what you're suggesting? I refuse to believe that accusation. Perhaps you're not looking at the right people. I suggest you look at the rebels for Sobwell's murder. They must have been involved. Do you know where he keeps his journal? No, I don't. Sobwell was only in 3 places most of the time, though. You should check his room, the archives, and around the statues. There's nowhere else. Yeah, well, I got it. I have the journal. Let me be DD. And let me take the book. Pop it in here. Take the fruit out. Zoink. I gotta go talk to Galenix then. Because, like, I don't know how to solve this. Ori, what you got for me? Let's see. Do you know anything about QuickTime's? Oh, Sorvel's journal. If he kept one, he kept it away from me. Many of our people who keep journals is a good way to remember things for the next time we hold assembly. Oh, QuickTimes? Does Galenix ever make mistakes? No, it's thorough. He wouldn't make a mistake. The journal that I read, hold on, there might be something actually in here that I didn't think about. Let me see, hold on 1 second. We had to talk about was it the Beast? Are in my journal. A complex series of gears. My journal contains more theories and sketches. It's unfortunate the magma restricts my research. It has filled up parts of the statues become inoperable. The cover of an old mineral analysis book that was rotting away. That's right, the mineral analysis book. Let's go down here and take a look. There's archives here. If we have knowledge of that piece of information, we might be able to find something in here. Yeah. It's covered with books and scrolls on various topics. However, there's nothing that catches DD's eye as being anything particular or interesting. On closer inspection, DD comes across a book on mineral analysis that is somewhat out of place on the shelf. Pulls it off the shelf for closer examination. The journal dates back several months, mostly having to do with the statues and Sorwell's work on them. There's nothing interesting about any of the entries, but what is interesting is what's not there. The last entry in the journal has been torn out. Also, there's something stuck in the back binding. Pulling it out, you discover a small golden key. Let's get the book. Did I get the key? The problem there is that I might not have the key and I can't reach it because it's in here. Pursuing the written word, are we? I understand that many of your kind cannot read at all. Amazing. Glad you're educated. What are you doing here? Make yourself. Hello. Oh. Okay, I'll be right back, guys. I have to go help my wife. Be right back. Have, because it says like don't sacrifice Gort. I bet you could sacrifice Toro. There's a giant spider. Did you see that? Did you see that? A giant spider just dropped down in front of the camera. Holy smokes. That was terrifying. That was terrifying. Right in front of the camera. That was scary. It's an omen. We're all gonna die. It's alright. It happens. No one's coming to save me. I'm going to die here. Bambi, save me. I'm your mother. Save me, Bambi. Bambi, save your mother. Pretty little robot. I'm in the middle of a mission right now, but I should be done here shortly. I'm a ranger, raycast. So it's a ranger, cast with the robot people. And you can play it like a third-person shooter, which is kind of cool. He is my big old hunky transformer, the gigantic, oversized pompadour. All together now, and sway, and sway, and sway, and sway, and kick, and sway, and sway, and sway. Hey, Thula.
I'm coming along.
will exact revenge. No, it's too much. It's too many words. Too many letters. Revenge is mine. Revenge is mine. Oops. I'll make them pay. Oh, Pokemon? That object is an arc phone, you say? What an odd device. Could it be guiding you somehow? If you will indulge me for a moment, there's something I'd like to share with you. You see, I have a dream. To eat 373,000 Pokémon. And to compile this region's first complete record of its Pokédex. We in the field call such a catalog a Pokédex. Lovers born anew, in passions they find their spark, and blossom romance. This has been a haiku. Thank you, Lip, for the haiku. So kind of
Very big trouble now.
open this chest.
Look what I...
Oh, snap. I just killed my...
Find the 6 tokens here, then climb the bell tower.
The bell tower. What is a bell tower?
Okay, so Iris, go where?
Go west. Okay, look. Where's she at?
She's in the transit monitor.
Okay.
Monitor.
That is... Where is that? She needs to go north, then west, then south, then west, then north.
Okay, so north.
Was my first time logging on since they announced Warcore was shutting down. When I connected, my character was sitting on the bench in the center of Torrent where we logged out. My friend Marissa was sitting on the bench over her character, looking expressionlessly out at the sun. We sat in silence for a second before she spoke. Her voice came out through my headphones. Yo, what's up? Hey, Marissa joined the channel. Hello, Marissa. Get there right now.
Yeah, we're gonna hit. That's okay. Get on. Fire.
Fire.
Oh.
On the road. On the road.
Oh god. Oh my god, what the hell?
I guess I still play fucking video games.
I didn't get
Yeah, heal.
Time keeps on slippy. Fox into the future. Get these guys off me, Fox. Oh god. What? What just happened?
You got it, Hook.
I'm going backwards now.
You got it. You can do this.
I can do
I
this.
believe in you.
Nope, I did not get it. What just happened?
I don't know what this head motion is, but I kind of like it.
What's his nuts? Where's Archmage dick in a box? It's just a person showing off their animation and their music. Like, how cool is that? And it turns off if you leave. Dream sounds.
I don't think it's the worst.
Well, we got a boat coming right at us, guys. Come on. Let's get... Oh, J-Rod, anchor. We got ship coming right at us, full speed.
Why don't you parlay?
Well, we're gonna move first.
That does not work.
I mean, I'll agree with Didi. It might be overrated. Yeah, no, Ocarina is better than Windwaker. Windwaker
Ahoy!
has the awful Triforce quest.
How's it going, man? We're friendly. We're just doing some grinding, man. How are you today? Hope you're doing well. But if you want to fight, I mean, we can do that. Watch out for the barrels.
His sail
Those
looks
explosive
cool.
barrels.
Make friends.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Oh, Red Ox knows about Bogus's feeling.
Yeah, we've talked. Oh, it's gonna be like that, is it?
Hello, lads. How are you in this fine day?
We're doing great. Oh, wow. There's Mr. Ghibli's. Mr. Ghibli's. Ah, don't you take Mr. Ghibli's. What are you doing? I'm placing him right here next to the wheel so he can look at Dwarven Dad with the no. Here, Quebs, here, I'll let you do the honors. He is in the cannon. You can fire him out of the cannon. You can fire Mr. Ghibli's. Let's go. Woo! Goodbye, Mr. Ghibli's! Bye, Mr. Ghibli's! Boom! Ha! Thank you. There, are you happy now?
The foul-mouthed old lady who ran the shop would give us free treats sometimes.
She's not foul-mouthed. Her husband died in World War II. You erected a store from the ruins of your house, and you still continue to lay a placeholder, plate, and meal for him for when he returns. She is not a foul-mouthed old lady, Dio. You take that back, sir.
Let's see this thing. Oh. OBS has crashed. Coming in hot. Ooh. Oh. 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 Hey folks, I'm gonna have to end the stream actually. My oldest is came down with something really crazy and she's having difficulty breathing. I'm taking her to the ER. I'm gonna go. Goodbye. I'll see you on Sunday. Farewell.